This evening. Well, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for coming out. Look at the sun came out just so you could be here, right? About an hour ago, it was pouring rain. So the sun came out just so you could be in the room. And I'm so grateful to see all your beautiful faces, all these Hill District members and residents that are here to help us make very critical decisions. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Look at your neighbor and say, thank you for coming out. And tell your neighbor at the winter meeting, bring your other neighbor, right? We need as many residents to come out to these meetings to help us make the right decisions. I also want to thank all our presenters for the night. We have a full packed agenda, a lot of good information to share with you. And so we have a ton of new faces in the house. You'll get to meet them shortly. So I want to make sure that everybody has had a chance to enjoy our delicious dinner. If you haven't had a plate, or if you haven't had a chance to get a plate, please make sure that you do. We want to make sure that we have your full attention and that you're not sitting there hungry or thirsty. So please make sure you get a plate, okay? So I want to just go over a few housekeeping rules. First of all, we want you to have fun. We don't want you to be here and be stressed, but we want you to have fun and be in community with each other. This is the Hill District, or these are Hill District partners. So we want you to get to know new people and new faces in the house. We want you to ask questions. We want you to speak up. If you don't understand something, throw your hand up and ask, hey, what did you mean by that? Make sure you walk out of here fully understanding what's going on and who's doing what and who said what. Be engaged and participate. And if you need to do something where maybe you don't agree with what's being said, that's okay. Do it respectfully. No name calling. Don't get personal. Don't make it personal attacks. But ask the necessary questions as far as who you need to talk to after the meeting so that you could get things resolved. We also will have Q&A sessions basically after every agenda item, so you'll have more than enough time to ask questions. I do want to point out that some of our presenters will be here after the meeting so that you can meet with them personally and so that you can get additional information. So I'm going to ask for our city planning team, if you will just stand up and just show your beautiful faces. This is our city planning team. They will be here after the presentation to meet with you and to give you additional information. And then we also have our RAISE team is here. And there's a whole lot of RAISE people, RAISE team members in the house to answer any question you may have. So I'm gonna ask all of my RAISE team members to stand up, show your beautiful faces. See, I told you there was a whole bunch of them here today. And they're here to make sure that when you walk out of here, you clearly understand what's going on with RAISE and that you understand exactly what is going to happen as far as you and your family are concerned. Then we also have our Lower Hill rep here today. I'm gonna ask him to stand up, and he's here to answer any of your Lower Hill questions. So a lot of guests are here to make sure you walk out of here knowledgeable, okay? And so no question is a dumb question. Every question is so important. And guess what? If you ask the question, that allows the person that's sitting next to you that's thinking of the same question, that's afraid to ask the question, to know the knowledge that they need to know, right? So without any additional delay, I'm going to allow our CEO, Marimba Malliance, to come up and to begin to share and open up our meeting.
Hi, everybody. Hi to our audience online. Can everybody hear okay? All right. So just a quick reminder, if you're presenting, we need you here so that our audience online can see your face and get all of the slides with your actual presentation. I'm not going to be long because Diane is going to come right back up. We've got a packed agenda. Diane just went through a lot of the agenda. most important things you need to know is we need you to score tonight and we need your input on the infrastructure work. But there are lots of other things that I know brought you out. Long and short of it, is, the Hill CDC is a place-based organization focused on the 1,100 acre redevelopment area of the Hill District neighborhood. As we like to say, the historic Hill District, okay? Our mission is to connect you to policies and to plans to compel community development. And the active word is compel and drive for us. We don't sit back and wait for it to happen. We try to make it happen. And so that is a challenge every day, yet we continue and we persist, okay? So we focus on people, place, and policy. That means you, also the physical place, and of course, the policies that will get us to where we need to be that are based on the master plan. Our core work, as you know, is real estate development, economic development, and policy and planning, which we call also advocacy. So with that said, I'm going to ask Diane Day to come back up, our Director of Programs, Policy, and Special Initiatives, and she is going to tell you a little bit about some of the activities that are happening over the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
So how many of you guys have had well, no, don't show me your hand, but I hope that so many of you have had an opportunity to join us on our Food Bank Day. It is probably my favorite day of the month to see all of the Hill District come out. It's just a great opportunity to have community. And so next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday, we actually will have UPMC join us. And they're bringing their whole mobile team. They are going to, in addition to help us distribute food, they're actually going to be doing a lot of free health screenings. So if there's something that you need screen like blood pressure or blood sugar or something of that nature, they're bringing the mobile unit. It will be on site and you can just walk in and get your free screening. This is a great opportunity for that family member that you know needs to get screened, but they refuse to go to the doctor. You know the one? I have some in my family. I know you do too. Bring them and push them in the mobile unit to get screened. And then you know that they will be healthy, right? So don't forget September the 12th, bring your own totes so that you can walk away with a lot of food. If you are a business owner, we actually have counseling sessions that take place in the Hill District every month. And so this is an opportunity for you to meet with some of our Small Business Development Center partners, the University of Pittsburgh, Chatham, Duquesne. They will sit with you, help you develop or expand your business plan. They will also talk to you about financing or anything you're looking to do within your business. We have also partnered up with Neighborhood Community Development Fund so that you can talk about where you can find money for your business, right? And then if you're looking to become a certified minority business, we also have those sessions available for you as well. So please, you don't have to go to another neighborhood. You can actually make the session right here and meet with these partners right at the Hill CDC on Center Avenue. All of these flyers are located outside in the foyer. Please, if this is relating to something that you're interested in, pick it up on your way out. If you're looking to buy a home or you know someone that's looking to buy a home, we are hosting first-time homeowner workshops every month. We also are going to do an in-house workshop in October at the Hill CDC. Please watch for that particular date. That way you don't have to, you don't have to go anywhere or do anything. It's going to be right there on Center Avenue. But for September, the virtual full day session is going to be on September the 20th at 9 a.m. And this gives you your first time homeowner certificate. So then you can, share that with your bank or whoever's going to finance you. In addition to that, if you're not already signed up for our roundup, I encourage you to do it tonight. That way you can see the homes that are available in the Hill. We feature a home every week in the roundup. And that way you have first knowledge on what's available, what's the inventory look like. I know it takes a while for you to find a home. I've gone through that process many times. And, this gives you a chance to see who has open houses this week and, what house am I interested in? So please, if you're not getting the roundup, ask a staff member how you can do that so that you can begin to get that information. Next Tuesday, we are hosting our bi-monthly plans meeting. And this is where different departments in the agency that have plans regarding the Hill District will be outlining those plans. We encourage you to come out. We will be talking again about the RAISE project and then going a little bit deeper in the City of Pittsburgh comps plan. We also you'll hear a little bit about the Greater Hill District Master Plan tonight, but we'll go into a lot more detail at this particular meeting. This is going to be on September the 9th. It's an evening event, but we also record it and we do feature this in the roundup. So again, another reason why you should make sure that you're getting the roundup. Now, how many of you guys have little ones in your life? Can I see you? Just one person? 2, 3, 4. Okay, well, for those who have little people in your life, or you're a big person that like candy, this is your event. So last year was the first year that we did the Hill Hunt. And I can tell you, it was absolutely a fantastic event. It had a ton of children from the local schools come out in full costume, and they were able to go trick-or-treating on Center Avenue. They were able to go to a haunted house that our state rep Mays created, and they were able to carve pumpkins, and it just was a great time for all. If you missed this event, all our costume pictures are on our Facebook page. Go back and look. You'll see Marimba, you'll see Dylan, you'll see myself, you'll see Renee, you'll see a lot of us in costume. And I encourage you to participate this year. I can tell you that it was the greatest reward watching all the children come up in costume, get their candy, and they were so excited. So we're going to do this again on Halloween. If you are a business owner, if you are an artist, if you're a creative, and you would like, if you are one of our partners over there and you want to participate, please see me after this meeting. We would love for you to be a part of this. We definitely we're telling all the schools that this is going to happen again. So we're expecting hundreds of children. If you just want to donate candy, if you just want to pass out candy and you want to partner up with one of the businesses, please, please make sure you see us so that you can be part of the fun. If you like costumes, this is the day to wear them. Okay, I'm just saying, right? So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Marimba to talk about Lower Hill.
All right, thank you, Diane. Much appreciated. And the reason, a little more context about the Hill Hunt. Have you all noticed how dark it is now in the community? Remember when the lights used to be on when we were little? The lights used to be on and you can knock on the door. Well, if you look around the community, there aren't a whole lot of lights on in our community anymore, which means that the children in our community go where? To another community, right? And so community building is about affirming communal identity every opportunity that you have. And we want our children to know that we are thinking about them and we are engaging them at all times, okay? All right, so we have a special guest tonight. Kirk Holbrook is our new project manager for the Lower Hill Advisory Fund that is focused on the LRTA Fund specifically, okay? And he'll talk a little bit about the detail of that, but he's just here for a quick update. We know that the LRTA Fund is a super popular topic in the Hill District, and so he has some good news to share. Kirk?
Thank you, Marimba, and I promise I'll be quick. So good evening, Hill District. My name is Kirk Holbrook. I am the project manager for the Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund. I've been in this position for about, excuse me? Oh, sorry. I'm the project manager for the Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund. I've been in this position for about 3 or 4 months, and my goal is to really try to help the fund get together, develop some guidelines, and get it out to the community where it could help not only bricks and mortar development, but help people. And so within the first 3 or 4 months, I've been working closely with the advisory board and community members, meeting with a lot of folks. And what we first put together is a plan to release 3 or 4 different funding line items related to children, youth, and education, workforce development, minority and women business enterprise support, and development initiatives. And so we did have a really great meeting last week where our local advisory board was able to approve 3 guidelines for children, youth, and education. It's a total of $240,000. Organizations will be able to apply up to $25,000 once we have the guidelines officially approved. We also approved funding for workforce development initiatives. That total line item is $120,000. And local organizations and community-based organizations will be able to apply for funding of up to $30,000. And then the last guideline that we approved as an advisory board is for development initiatives. That line item is up to $930,000. And development initiatives that are close to completion, so it's last in funding, will be able to apply for up to $250,000 total in grants. So our advisory board did approve these guidelines. They will be formally presented to the URA board next Thursday. And then hopefully, fingers and toes crossed, we will be able to start getting money out into the community beginning in October. Is there anything else I should add, Miranda? All right, thank you. And I will be here. If you have any questions and you're not able to reach me tonight, my email is GHDNRF, so Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund @URA.org. And you'll be able to reach me directly and we can set up more time to talk. Say that one more time. Greater Hill District, so GHDNRF @URA.org. Thank you.
All right, so thank you, Kirk. We appreciate you coming on board and coming alongside the committee and getting these funds out. You know, I know y'all appreciate it because y'all been giving us the blues for like 2 straight years over the LRTA fund, and rightfully so. I believe in accountability, so you keep doing that. All right, so we got a quick update on the Lower Hill option agreement. You know, I like to use visuals to communicate what's going on in our community. I'm gonna get through this as quickly as possible, but the Lower Hill option agreement is expiring. Who knows what the Lower Hill option agreement is? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, did I see a hand? Anybody want to give it a shot? Okay, well, Lower Hill option agreement essentially gives an entity the option to develop the Lower Hill in this particular case, okay? So the current option agreement is expiring in October, all right? So I figured I would give you all a little bit of context. Can't give you as much context as I'd like because we just don't have enough time tonight. There's a lot on the agenda. But way back in 2006, that's almost 20 years ago, right? Okay. First, the state approved the right, enabled casino operations in the state of Pennsylvania. Because the state was like, we need more money. How are we going to get more money? Okay, we're going to launch casinos in our state, and we will get money from the casinos for some of our needs within the state. So the state approved the right to have casinos in Pennsylvania. Well, it turns out that the Hill District, Station Square, and the North Side were in a hotly contested contest, okay, for the singular license that was going to be issued in Pittsburgh, okay? So the Penns paired themselves with the Isle Capri Casino, and they proposed a casino for the Lower Hill District. Harrah's paired themselves with a group, and they proposed a site in Station Square. And Don Barton, who was one of the only African-American gamers in the country, proposed a Majestic Star Casino on the North Shore, okay? All right, that's 2006, all right? Well, turns out that after many, many, many months of advocacy and political leadership, the casino decision was made, okay? And Don Barton won the casino license, okay? Now, what a lot of people may not remember is during all of what was happening, you know, the Penns and some others were trying to figure out how they could get an angle to make sure that they had the more competitive application so the state would make a decision for them. So the Penn said, well, we won't just do a casino, we'll redevelop the Lower Hill, right? And so Don Barton said, I won't just do a casino, I'll redevelop the Lower Hill, right? So it was hotly contested. Turns out Don Barton won, okay? So the Penns were very sad about that, but they weren't just sad, they were mad. So they said, goodbye, Pittsburgh, we are out, right? We are leaving, we didn't win this license, we need a new stadium, and even they were gonna get it anyway, that's a whole longer story. So we're leaving, okay? And so I'm pretty sure it happened in the dead of the night, maybe over a few nights. Some of our elected officials and political leaders and others locked themselves in the civic arena and decided that instead of giving the Lower Hill District to Don Barton, who had promised to develop it, that they were going to keep those development rights and give them to the Penns in exchange for staying in Pittsburgh. Okay? Now, Mario Lemieux later divulged that he was never going to leave Pittsburgh and that the Lower Hill was essentially a bargaining chip for him to stay. All right? So he was successful at that. All right. So I thought this picture might be a little helpful for you. So that's Don Barton. Okay. I think he's on your left. He's on my right, on the far right. They said, no, Don, you're not getting it. Okay. So he never had the option agreement, but the deal was that if he had won the license, he was supposed to get the option agreement. So technically he never had it. All right. The first owners of it were Ron Burkle and Mario Lemieux. This is the option agreement. Okay. So they got the option agreement. And so they have had the development rights until recently when they sold the Pittsburgh Penguins. Anybody know who acquired the Pittsburgh Penguins just a few years ago? Fenway Sports Group, okay, acquired the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if they acquired the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Pittsburgh Penguins own the Lower Hill or have the development rights to the Lower Hill, I should say, because there's a difference between ownership and development rights. Ownership is who holds the deed. Who holds the deed is the URA and the SEA. Who has the right to develop legally is the Pittsburgh Penguin Organization, okay, also known as PAR, okay? So when Fenway purchased the Penguins, what happened? They also got the Lower Hill development rights, okay? So currently, Fenway Sports Group owns the Lower Hill development rights, all right? But it's currently expiring in October of this year, okay? So that's less than 60 days. All right, we'll talk about that a little more. So in 2008, when they initially got the development rights, may have been 2007, when they originally got the development rights, there were promises to develop the Lower Hill, okay? Well, this is where we are.
It's a parking lot.
What'd you say?
All we got was a parking lot.
Well, we had a parking lot and most of the revenue from the parking lot went to the Pittsburgh Penguins until like last year, then that parking revenue started going back to the URA. But in terms of what has been executed upon, you see the check marks, okay? And then you see those that haven't been executed upon, all right? Now, why is this important beyond just information that you have in your head? Well, I think it's important for us as we think about the comprehensive redevelopment of the Hill District, not just from an equity standpoint, which I think it is critically important from an equity standpoint, because remember the history of the Lower Hill is that 8,000 folks got displaced, mostly African-American, and spread throughout the region for that land through eminent domain, right? I figured I had to cut the history lesson a little short in the interest of time, but that's the real background. But this here is holding our community in arrested development. So when we talk about what's going on with Center Avenue, when we talk about why aren't things happening, we have to understand the context of how real estate development occurs. Investors put their money where they think their money is going to increase. But if there is a 28-acre site, for example, at the foot of your neighborhood and a part of your neighborhood that has just been hanging out there for how many years? About 20, right? That can hold some capital up from flowing into your neighborhood, right? So we have a question upon us now, okay? We have a question upon us. I saw our councilman somewhere in here. Hi, Councilman Lavelle. This is his favorite topic. All right, so here are in the four quick areas of, the sequence of what, it's not sequence, it's not steps, but you all know what I'm saying. Four buckets, I'll call them. In 2007 through 2028, okay? So currently in 2007, That's when the initial option was established. And the price was set to sell each parcel for $10 per parcel. Okay, so I know you all remember, we've talked about that in the past, that up here, you may have to pay $20,000 for a parcel, but down there, the price was set at $10 per parcel. Okay, all right, so then in 2014, the option agreement was renegotiated and replaced with another option agreement. These are also known as what we call extensions, right? These are ways to renegotiate terms and conditions so that the owner of the development rights can keep ownership of the development rights, okay? Then in 2018, they renegotiated again another extension with certain specific conditions. And in this particular one, they can purchase pauses, okay, on a monthly basis, but under no uncertain terms, okay, can it extend beyond March of 2028. Okay, so the thing that I need you to leave with here today is that over the next, what is the date? October 22nd. What is today? September. Okay, so we have just over a month, right? We have to decide what we want to happen in our community, right? Because here's the thing, they could possibly purchase pauses. They can do that for, according to the agreement, 3 years, right? But they also may decide to walk away. They may decide to walk away. The other thing that we need to understand is that Fenway Sports Group has not had ownership for 20 years. They've had ownership for the past 3 years. And they do have a development arm, okay? Unlike the prior owners, right? And they have sufficient capital should they decide they want to invest it here. But what we need to appreciate and make some decisions about is where we stand. Do we want to continue to wait on the existing people who have the option? Do we want to renegotiate? Do we want to advocate with the city, the URA, and the Sports and Exhibition Authority to put the project up for bid? There are legal conditions that they will have to meet, but their legal conditions are not necessarily our legal conditions as a community. We are allowed to have our own perspective about how this should be carried out. Okay, so with that said, I do want to answer any specific questions on this item because I know it was a lot of information and I wanted to get it in there because we're not going to have a meeting before you see this in the news. Okay, are there any questions on this item? Yes, sir.
No, I just wanted to comment, because the word I'm hearing from a lot of sports reporting, ironically, is that Fenway is looking to sell again. And that Mario Lemieux and perhaps Ron Burkle may be looking to reacquire.
So the comment for our listening audience is that one of the gentlemen said that what he is hearing is that Fenway Sports Group is looking to sell, possibly to Mario Lemieux and Ron Burkle, the prior owners, who did own it for the majority of the time. Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Where would the revenue from these pauses go to? Would it come to URA, or who would get the revenue from that?
Right. So we, of course, will be advocating fiercely for any funds that come by way of pauses to go into the very fund that you just heard about. And why? Because the guidelines for that fund are established to already go into the community in specific categories. So then we don't have to worry about new terms, new conditions, and anybody feeling like something that can go into the fund that has already had lots of scrutiny by community, so that those monies can come into the community. Great question. And I believe that those would have to start almost immediately. But we don't know what the legal options are for both the city nor Fenway Sports Group. Again, we just need to advocate for our position as a community. Any more questions? Yes, Deidre.
So the option agreement, are there any loopholes for the expiration date? Like when it sells, like can they say, well, we want to start our time over since we're the new owners?
Right. So yeah, there's a term called force majeure. I'm pretty sure it's French and not Latin. And it essentially what it means is that a supernatural event happened or something happened that prevented them from executing on their commitment in time. Okay, so It could be a natural storm, natural disaster, right? It could be anything of that nature. One might argue it could be a pandemic, right? However, I argue that everywhere I drive in Pittsburgh, there are cranes in the sky. So obviously, we all went through the same conditions, and those conditions, for whatever reason, didn't apply to all of the other cranes in the sky. Why do they apply to those on the lower hill? Any other questions? Y'all ready to fight for your community? Okay. So next steps for you are please register for the roundup. We do not know how this will unfold. It's obviously going to unfold through legal mechanisms because it's a contract, but we do not know if there will be board votes. Councilman Lavelle may have an idea if you have any updates on what's next for the community in terms of any public opportunities to express their concerns.
As of right now, government URA SEA is effectively waiting to hear back from FSG. The SEA and the URA sent FSG formal notice 2 weeks ago now, notifying them that the October 22nd date was coming. FSG, as of yesterday, had reached out and asked for an in-person meeting to discuss it, but that hasn't been set yet.
Excellent, excellent. So for those of you who are listening online, Councilman Lavelle said that they had reached out to FSG to update them and to let them know this option is expiring soon and we need to have some clarity on what's going to happen. They responded as of today or yesterday, essentially indicating that they wanted to meet and discuss it. But again, we're inside of a month and a half now. So we just need to be prepared to advocate for, you know, any funds coming into our community to come into our community, right? Not into government entities, not into like, they need to come into our community. We have several projects on Center Avenue and throughout the Hill District that have gaps that need support. We have a grocery store that continues to be a challenge. We have no shortage of economic needs in this community. And so I think we should be thinking mightily about that. Any other questions or comments? All right. With that, I'm going to invite City Planning up to give us an update. We have our Director of City Planning, Sharonda, who is going to give you an update on the City Comprehensive Plan and hopefully a little bit of information about the Greater Hill District Master Plan.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Sharonda Watley. I am the Assistant Director of Strategic Planning for the Department of City Planning. I'm not the director, that is Dr. Jamil Bey. And so we're here tonight. I'm joined by Benita Johnson. She is the new neighborhood planner for the Hill District in our department. So we are very excited to have her. You will start to see her in different community meetings and different aspects. So we're super excited to be here tonight. So I think that we have 5 minutes on the agenda. So I will keep I will keep to this. We just introduced Benita. She comes to us with many years of experience. She was previously with HUD and she is from Pittsburgh. So we are super excited to have her come back to us and work in this capacity. For the comprehensive plan, so I'm going to talk tonight just a little bit about the comprehensive plan, the Hill District master plan, and also the Hill District Parks plan. So I'll keep it to a couple of minutes. So as you all may have heard, the city is embarking on a comprehensive plan for the entirety of Pittsburgh. And so essentially, this is a plan that helps to set the stage for development and improvements across the city. And so this is super important in that we make sure that the community is aware and that they have ample opportunity to provide feedback and participate in engagement. And so if you all are interested in city topics, we have about 20 topics that we are tackling as part of the comprehensive plan. So everything from housing to transit, to education, to infrastructure improvements at a citywide scale. And so I know that you all are really used to having conversations about your neighborhood specifically, but if you have thoughts about these things citywide, we are definitely here to hear that from you all tonight. And I think we will be back on the 9th to delve a little bit deeper into all of these topics specifically. We have set a very high bar for ourselves in terms of engaging with 1 in 10 Pittsburghers. So that's about 10% of the population, which is about 30,000 people. And so we are on our way to doing that. And so you will continue to see us in spaces like this and also in different social gatherings and different community events. For the Greater Hill District Master Plan, some of you all may remember us from the spring. We hosted a comment period where we received almost 180 or so substantive comments about the draft Hill District Master Plan. We also received even more comments related to grammar and punctuation and different things like that. But there were about 180 comments from this community about what was in that draft plan. And so we've actively revised it. And so our director, Dr. Jamil Bey, is reviewing that plan before we release it again. And also our law department is also reviewing it as well. So we hoped to be back to you all with the revised version and all of the comments that we have received over that 60-day comment period to be as transparent as possible in terms of what we received from you all and how we are making the changes to revise the plan itself. And then lastly, for the Greater Hill District Parks Master Plan. And so this was completed in 2023. And so as that plan has been completed, we have started to work with our Department of Public Works, or DPW, on implementation. And so they are focusing on Amen and Kennard Parks in terms of the first round of implementation for that. Oh, thank you. And so they are actually wanting to put out a contract here soon for design of those improvements of that park plan. And so those are the three things that we can have additional conversation with you about at the table. And then we'll also come back next week to further dive deeper into those things too as well. So did I keep it to 5 minutes? Yes.
So we're grateful for city planning. They got a lot of good stuff happening for the Hill District. And so I'm going to just jump right into the next thing. You know, the Development Review Panel is a committee of residents that really have become the guardian of the city. They met last night, and I could tell you they were fighting tooth and nail for you. And so they take their job very seriously. And they are very committed to the work that's happening in the Hill District. They hold developers' hands over fire. So it's a committee of residents that we don't share, but we want you to know that they are really representing you quite well. And we're very grateful for every member and every agency that is part of this group. So tonight we do have a presentation. I do want to just kind of go through what the DRP is about. And again, it's the resident engagement and advocacy and partnership to our progress. It is made up of now 9 different organizations, and it's the unified community voice for development. And so we definitely want to make sure that you're aware of it and that you know that somebody is representing you when somebody presents a proposal of development. It is a process where there's a panel of residents plus tonight's individual resident scoring, and that together is our community input. We want to talk about the fact that we're often looking for additional agencies or additional units of organizations that will represent the Hill. And one of the groups that we have been courting for quite a while is the Bedford Tenant Council. This year they decided to join us, and we basically were on our hands and knees saying, hey, we need you because there is so much development that's happening in Bedford that we need your voices. We need to make sure you're represented. So we were able to get them to join us. And we had their whole council come into our office. And then they did pick a representative, and this person is on fire for the Hill. And so she holds back, he or she doesn't hold back. There's lots of questions, right? And so I just want to share with you that Bedford is covered now under the DRP. Yeah, we definitely needed that group. We have over 60 projects that have been reviewed by the DRP. We're very happy to share that all of that information about which projects is located on our website. Again, the residents have a voice as far as future development of this community. And we're scoring on residential projects, commercial projects, and even supportive service projects. And again, you can go onto our website, which is hilldistrict.org/DRP, and you can see the developments that have been approved by the DRP. You can also see the developments that have been denied by the DRP, and then you can see the ones that are still in works or pending. And you'll read the entire information about the entire project. So all of that information is available to you. If there's something, if you see dirt moving, you can go and say, was that reviewed by us? And you can go look on the website. And if it wasn't reviewed by us, you can call us and say, hey, what about this project? And then we'll share with you what we were involved with and what, what we said and what we try to do to get that development to be approved by the community. The DRP is a two-step process. The first step is a focused deep dive review, and it's scored at committee level. If the plan is aligned with the master plan, then the second step is tonight. We advance it to the community so that you can actually review the project and vote. And each and every Hill District resident is allowed to vote. Once they are able to get a cumulative score of 80% or higher, then we provide a letter of support, and it's sent out on behalf of the DRP to the appropriate agencies like city planning, like the mayor's office, to the council, the Councilor Vale's office and so forth, to let them know that we are in support of this project. If it is denied and they decide, the agency or the development agency decides not to work with us, then we also send another letter letting everyone know this is not in support of the Hill District community. So if it's less than 80%, we do invite the developer to come back and to work with us to make sure that project is in alignment with the Greater Hill District Master Plan. If they decide not to, then we'll let the different agencies know that they decided not to work with the community. I think I said all that. And if you want to see, again, any projects that are currently under review, again, go to our website and you can just look on under review. And there's quite a few that are still out there that are still being in the works, and you can read up on them and get up to speed. Tonight's project is Summers Drive on Bedford Avenue. It's part of the Choice Project. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the fourth Choice Project. So we've seen this developer quite a bit. They actually submitted this project in February. The DRP committee reviewed the materials in their April meeting. In April, there were some questions and they wanted some follow-up information, in particular about MBE development partners. They also wanted a list of NWBE contractors, and they also wanted to know more about market rate housing rents. And so tonight, the developer will review that information with you. After they were able to provide that information in May, they did get an acceptable score of 88%, which is a B. There are 65 units in a mix of walk-up townhomes and stacked townhome units. 33 units will be affordable. They are for families earning 20% to 60% AMI, and then 10 will be an additional affordable units for family at 60% AMI. 22 of them will be at market rate. This is a outline of the project itself. And Trek is our developer. At this point, I'm going to ask Trek to come up and do their presentation. When they're finished, we will pass out the scorecards to residents of the Hill District so that you can actually score this particular project. If there are questions at the end of their presentation, I want you to ask your question, make sure that you get clarity on everything, and then we'll score.
Hey everybody, I'm Addie Cullen. I'm from Truck Development. I'm the project manager for the Hill District Choice Neighborhood Housing Grant. Just to take kind of a little bit of a step back here. Which one do I press to make go? Oh, figured it out. Oh, I'm going backwards. I apologize, guys. So this is our what we're calling Bedford Dwellings Phase 3 redevelopment. This is the fourth project in the Bedford housing redevelopment, but the third one done by Track. So it becomes a little bit confusing, but this is our third redevelopment, and the third one we come in front of you on. For those that aren't aware, we have the Bedford Dwellings Hill District Choice Neighborhood Grant, implementation grant that we were awarded in July of 2022. This is a $50 million grant to cover three main things: people, neighborhood, and housing. So there's a comprehensive plan that money is used for all three of these things. The first being the Choice People Program. This helps every resident at Bedford Dwellings. Each resident is connected to a community care coach that is either a member of Macedonia Face or Neighborhood Resilient Project. And then those community care coaches connect with liaisons that work in three main fields, either health, education, or workforce. And as part of our education, as a part of our health team, we also have a behavioral health team working with our team. Our second thing is neighborhood. So these are improvements within the neighborhood. We have four main, what we call critical community improvements. The first one is a critical community improvement to help current homeowners. The second one will be commercial and street level activation along Center and Heron Avenue. The third is creation of new homeownership opportunities. And the fourth is a Coal Seam Trail Park that will connect Francis Street down to Ammons. These are all being carried out by the URA. So they will be the primary operator to do these things. And as they come on board with this project, you'll hear more about those. Today, we're here to talk about Summers Drive, which is circled in red. Our other developments that we have already had going on, number one is City's Edge, that is being developed by Midpoint Group companies. You can see that kind of going up. They started framing it. You saw the garage come up. The first phase that was done by Track is the Reed. So you can see out the window here. That is building A has completely been finished, and we started moving residents to that. Building B will become available sometime at the end of September. So we're very excited to get the senior building up and running and get more residents in, and we can leasing. If anybody's interested, we do have leasing flyers in the back, and we can talk more about that. So the next phase is our Francis Street site. This is 180 units. As you can see, they started moving dirt there. We've got some units going up in the townhomes, as well as the senior building and the family building have begun erecting the steel and the elevator shafts. So now we're back to our third phase, which is our first technically on-site phase. So we will be demolishing Summers Drive to create this new development. As part of this, we have been working with every resident at Summers Drive to relocate to one of our new units at the Reed. This is a whole timeline of the grant schedule. It is a 10-year grant. We did receive the money in 2023, and it will go until 2032. So right now, the choice grant period for the people plan started right when we got the money. So they began working with the community care coaches at that time. The neighborhood initiatives are ongoing and will continue to roll out. And you can kind of see we're starting with City's Edge, Reed Roberts, Francis Street. We're now on to Summers Drive, and we'll have 2 more phases after this. So the team working on our phase 3 development TREC is partnered with the Housing Authority as co-developers, as well as our Minority Development Party for Lawn Development. The architect is WRT. We also are working with LaQuancha Bonsi and KU Resources as the civil designer, and Mystic Construction will be our contractor. Just a little bit about the project itself. Like I mentioned, it's the 3rd phase that TREC is doing as part of the Choice Neighborhood Grant. This calls for a 1-for-1 replacement of every Bedford dwellings unit. So there are 411 Bedford dwellings units. All 411 will be replaced in all of the units that we are building across all of the phases. So this one has 33 replacement units for Bedford residents. There are 43 total affordable units. We have an additional 10 affordable units for whoever also is interested in moving in there, and 22 market rate units. So eventually there also is the boiler plant that we eventually plan on using as community space. We cannot use it as this phase because the boiler will still be active for Chauncey Drive residents who will still be living on Chauncey Drive. We have the goal for 30% MBE and WBE, and 10% of all of our units will be accessible for residents. Our sustainability goals are zero energy ready and enterprise green communities. So this is kind of the new look of what we're trying to do. Bring the roads back into the community, make the buildings face the road, so that now we're really bringing the Summers Drive back into Bedford and bringing the community attached. Our unit mix, like we talked about before, there's 65 total units. We have a mix between 33 replacement units, 10 affordable, and 22 market rate. This is our first building. This is building A, where we have a row of townhomes. Actually, real fast, before I go back, I wanted to point out that we have a large number of 3 bedrooms on this property compared to many developments. Our idea is to really bring back more families onto this site. We've heard from many people that there's not enough family housing being built, so we're trying to get more of a mix of affordable and market rate family housing onto the site. So that being said, we have these 3-bedroom townhome units. They're 3-bed, 2.5 bath, right on Bedford Avenue that help work with the slope that is on Bedford. This is kind of a look of what they will look like. And an idea of the floor plans, where you have the 3 bedrooms upstairs with multiple bathrooms, and then a ground floor powder room in your kitchen and dining room space. The next building will be, we have 2 garden style buildings. This allows for 1- and 2-bedroom flat units. These units are allowed for smaller families that are also interested in living on the site. And just an idea of what the units will look like. Every unit will have their own outdoor space. So what we hear is very important when we talk to our residents, that everybody has their own private outdoor space. And then we have our last 4 buildings, which are a mix of stacked townhomes. So what that means is that we have a ground floor flat, which is your accessible unit, to allow for accessibility for all residents, and then a townhome above to give us more space and have larger units. So just look at the 3 bedrooms and the 2 bedrooms that are in the stacks. Like I mentioned before, our goal is to be enterprise green community, zero energy ready. So all units will be will have Energy Star appliances, efficient heating and cooling, LED light fixtures, low flow plumbing, and all buildings will be solar ready. We do follow the Section 3 plan of the Housing Authority. I will talk to Mystic having a great Section 3 program. In our phase one already, we have 104 total new placements of Section 3 workers. 23 of them were from the Hill and 16 total were from Bedford dwellings. The average wage of the people working on the site is $25. So if anybody's interested in more Section 3 information, please contact the Housing Authority, Lloyd Wilson. We can get you some contact information, or I can get you contact information with Mystic as well. Our MBWB utilization, we are committed to the 30% MBE and the 15% WBE. We were able to meet it so far on phase one, which is completing construction. We spent over 15.5 million to MBE firms and 7.5 million to WBE firms. We are working for the same goals on phase two, and this goal is going to be brought into phase three as well. Just an idea on the timeline. We are now at the Hill District DRP community meeting. This project still has not been awarded by the PHFA and LIHTC. We are still waiting for those awards to come out. So this timeline is pretty much, if we can't keep moving on forward if we don't get the financing. But we feel very confident in our application, so we're very hopeful that we are able to meet this timeline. Next up, we'll begin demolition at the beginning of next year, once every family on Summers is able to find a new safe home in one of our developments. Then we'll hopefully be closing sometime in the spring to early summer of next year, be in construction, which will take about 16 months, and then we'll start leasing and we'll be done with construction sometime in 2027. So as Diane mentioned, we did get a bunch of questions from the DRP that we were happy to answer and work with them to make sure that this project works for everybody in the community. So just to run through, as we mentioned, the MBWB participation, we did share a list of contractors, and we shared our goals and where we are at with our participation. And then some of the specific strategies that we have worked with. We are clearly aligned with the Greater Home Master Plan. We continue to work with the city, the URA, the Hill CDC, and other valuable stakeholders. We have held multiple vendor initiations between the Housing Authority, Mystic, and even Midpoint Group of companies has partaken in this to find MBE and WBE contractors as well as Section 3 employees. We very much most recently had one, I believe last week on the 22nd of August, maybe it was a couple weeks ago. But again, we did another one in July as well. So there were two over the summer. They do Mystic does a targeted bid solicitation, and we encourage any major subcontractor to reach out to us and send us your name so we can pass that on. As far as the market rate housing, well, some of this, so we base it off of a market study. The market study, we have placed the rents slightly below what the market is. However, we are contracted by PHFA as part of our funding to hold a certain level. So you will notice on phase two, we did set those market rents a little bit lower. They raised it up on us because they need us to be at a certain level of funding to meet their tax credit. So that we can borrow, they'll make us borrow more money. So we have to keep it at a certain level so we can pay back the money that they are making us borrow. So this is where we are at currently. As we continue to move forward and we continue to lease, these rents will move slightly. But this is our current status. I will note that phase 3 on Summers Drive, those, what?
Can you kind of read out what that is?
Yeah. So the current rents on phase 1 that we are leasing currently, 1-bedroom apartment is $14.59. A 2-bedroom apartment is $16.99. A 2-bedroom townhouse, this is a 2-bedroom townhouse with a garage, is $2,099. And a 3-bedroom townhouse is $23.99.
Wow.
I think you're right.
Make no sense. It's crazy. It's like y'all, we're trying to be priced out.
Well, we're given market study rents, and this is what we are contracted to use with PHFA. The market rents we got for a 1-bedroom was $19.37.
What?
Yeah. So we've set it 25% lower. We're trying our best, but we are not able to go under a certain level of that. No, the affordable rents are still based off of your rent. So all of the affordable housing rents are still 30% of your income. And are set at an AMI level. These are only for the market rate rents.
Practically that over the market.
And what are the percentages, for affordable and market rate?
Yes, so there are, on this deal, there's 123 units. 90 of the units are replacement units, which are fully subsidized units. There is an additional 9 units that are tax credit at 60%, and then 24 units which are market rate. So of the total stack, only about 24% of these units are actually market rate. The other 76 are affordable units.
Do you have the affordable rent?
I don't have them on the slide, but I can pull them up, yeah. But so that is the same. We also have, a smaller percentage of these units are market rated. All these, I believe, only on Francis Street, only 18% of the units are market rate. The rest are a mix between affordable and replacement. And Summers is about 30% market rate.
Last question, Joe?
Yeah.
Hold on, let's finish.
And then what is the status of relocation engagements with the Bedford Dwellings residents? We have 22 households that have been relocated so far. 10 of them are in townhomes, 12 are in the family building. We continue to work with additional families to lease out all 90 of the replacement units. And then we do have that connection between the park that will be on the Chauncey Bluff and then connect down through Summers into Ammons. We go back to the site. Plan. We'll build a new staircase that will reach down, and we'll connect all the way down to Ammons, and then we'll have its own private tot lot for the site located between buildings A and B. And that will be the park, but there will be access to both the park up above on the hill and Ammons Park to the left. And then after the development completion, Trek will be the manager on the property. That's the end of the questions that we received.
No, just questions. We want to take, we have 5-10 minutes of questions and then we can.
Okay, I just have a question. Will the people that are now living in the houses that are going to be torn down and they're going to be replaced to these new buildings, will they still be able to afford the same amount of space that they have now in the new place?
Yes, so the new housing is still the same rent. It's a 1-for-1 replacement. It's all subsidized based off their current income. And they go through the housing authority screening, but it is, as long as you're in good standing, you have the right to return to any of the housing.
So these folks, for the rental of this 2,700,
Mhm.
do your prices now?
No, those are not for, that is just for market rate renters. All of the other units are affordable and subsidized, affordable or subsidized for affordable renters. For the affordable units are based off your area median income. So those units will be placed at a rental level that is much more affordable than the market rates we gave you.
I would suggest that you go over those and hear the detail, because that's gonna be a big.
Yeah, can you look that up for me?
Living in 2,700.
Those are for anybody in that is interested in renting and can afford it.
Any more?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a very small percentage of the overall mix.
Yeah.
There's a 400 of the units, a majority of these units are replacement units and subsidized for residents at Bedford dwellings. And there are other additional units that will be affordable to residents of AMIs between 50 and 80% in all of the developments.
How many will be affordable?
I had it on a slide and I took it off right before this. So yeah, I can put it on. In just this one right here, we have 44 units. We have a total in this one of 44 affordable units of the 65.
One second, I want to make sure we're understanding what's happening here relative to the apartment. So, anybody here from your organization who can provide the specific rents?
Yes.
Can we get that information, please?
It's right there on the wall,
Yeah.
right there on the wall.
Okay, so, Addie, if you want to do this a little more clearly and then give the numbers as well. That'd be excellent. In the meantime, any other questions? We're gonna come back to the.
You said
Sir,
something about,
ma'am, sir.
you said something about behavioral health.
Yes.
Care coordinator, I didn't really catch what you said.
And I can bring up Becky to talk about that in a second. I'll just go through the rents real fast and then
Okay.
we'll move up. So these are the total AMI mixes between all the 65 units. So we have 7 total units that will be available to people that make 20% of the area median income. So with
Could you
the,
explain that?
We
Yes.
need numbers.
Yeah.
so the area
Yes.
median income in Pittsburgh right now is about $100,000. So these are for residents making $20,000 and below.
Okay.
So then we have 20 units at 50% AMI, so that is for residents that make $50,000 and below.
So
Wait,
you
what
make,
did you, I couldn't hear, sir, please, can I'm trying to listen to. what
so when
you're
you
saying.
say 50,000 below that, they fall in that bracket.
They fall in between these two.
Right?
Yeah.
Could you repeat that?
Y'all
I
count
can't
it.
hear back here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, so,
Take the mic. Take the mic.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the
yeah,
question?
Yeah.
so the question was the affordability in this project and what you need to make to be in each category.
And how many units
Yes.
are available per category?
Yeah, so in our 20% AMI, we have 7 totals. This is for people that make 20% of the area median income, which in Pittsburgh is about $100,000. So meaning this is for anybody that makes $20,000 and below. Will be available in these 7 years.
The $100,000
Only
thing.
7 though, that's what you said, only.
7 of them, but then we have 50% units. And these are
50% or below.
or below, so this is for people that make $50,000 or below. So anybody from here, from 50,000 to below.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I just need to make a correction for the record. $50,000 is, much
Yes.
lower
Yes.
than 50% AMI.
But that is also, so that I guess is also to be, it's a little bit confusing because this is based off a family of 4. So if you are a single person, that AMI difference becomes even lower.
Oh.
100% AMI for, one person is like 61,000.
So what if you don't make that much? Then where do you fall?
It depends on your income. If you're making,
So if you,
What if you
so-
make-
It don't sound right. This don't sound right.
So if you make. So if you make $40,000 and you're a single person, you would fall into a 60% or below. The 100% is based on a family of 4, so
You're gonna pay them out.
so if you were a single person and that AMI is about 56. Is 100%, so then if you're a single person, you get 20% of that. Which is about 25 or 20. I can't do that. What do we have it?
well,
Yeah,
you want this one?
What about the heirs of those people who have inherited what they already own? How can they maintain that if they have to transfer that back to their generational children? How can they maintain
the opportunity to stay in the Hill District.
This is for rental housing only. This is not for.
These are the all rent projects. Oh.
So.
How much is the average? How much is the average?
That's what she's talking about.
I want her to answer that.
So, ma'am, when y'all add that up, when you say the rent, what else do y'all take in factor, like, do you take in factor the other bills that the person might have, or?
Yes, so we do have a rental allowance for anything, and it's always based on 30% of your income, so you're always paying 30% of what you make. So for one bedroom, the tenant paid rent would be $75,000 or $75. For a 50% unit, the rent would be $743 a month.
Okay.
For one bedroom at 60%, your rent would be $891 a month. So it is much less than what the market rate is.
Hold on, I need you to, let's back up a little bit, because this is a really important topic, and I wanna make sure everybody is
That's
clear.
not.
If you are renting a one-bedroom apartment, okay, do you have all of the numbers there in front of you? Okay, you need to put the computer down, that's fine. There's a, on the podium. If you live in a one bedroom and you make 20% of the area median income, what is your rent going to be?
$75.
If you live in the two bedroom and you make 20% of the area median income, what will your rent be?
Then again, I mean, it's a minimum, I don't have that number out of me right now. It looks like about 190.
Okay, if you live in a three bedroom and you earn 20% of the area median income, approximately,
Let me
what will
see.
your rent be?
We have 215, but that again is fluctuating based on.
Estimated, what is estimated?
That is an estimated.
Okay. So at 50% AMI or below, if you live in a one bedroom, what will your rent be? This is if you earn less than 20% of their median income.
If you were 50% and you live in a one bedroom, it's 740.
Oh, my mind don't calculate that, understand that, like, if I make $50,000 a year, how much would my rent be?
For what?
And for what,
number? How
one
many
bed,
bedrooms?
one bedroom?
Make $150,000?
No, hold on, if she makes $50,000.
Okay.
And she wants to live in a one bedroom, what will the rent be?
$743.
Okay, if she needs a two bedroom, what will the rent be?
$849.
This is the 50% of the area median income. For the three bedroom, if you are at 50% of the area median income, what will the rent be?
$955.
Okay, now if you are earning 60% of the area median income or below. Here's the thing, everybody needs to know,
What if they
you
die?
can rent up, right? But if you earn market rate, you can't live in a 60% area median income unit. You cannot. But if you earn 60% of the area median income, you can rent a market rate unit if you can afford it, right? So you can, the system will allow you to rent up, but you cannot dip down, okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so let's continue, 60% for 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, what are those rents?
So for a one bedroom, it's $891. For two bedrooms, it's for 60% is $1,019.
Mhm.
And for a three bedroom, it is $1,146.
Okay, and then market rate are the ones that she went through initially, okay? Are there any questions on the rents? Any
What-
clarifications? Yes,
What
ma'am,
happens when you die?
and the Carmen?
Yes. It's a question, but it's more of a comment. Just knowing where some of these places are being demolished, Chauncey Drive and such. Most of those folks up there are 20% and low.
Yes.
So the point that I'm trying to ask, and maybe I don't know if I'll get an answer. They're not gonna be able to afford, you don't have enough units that's gonna be built for these people.
We are
So
building,
what
and
happens and what leadership and who's fighting for these people? Because, beautifying the neighborhood is a wonderful thing, it is. But when you're pushing people out, that concerns me.
Yes, no,
I grew up in this community. And yes, we have low income. Some of us have excelled from that. But some of us were unfortunate, not able to move to the next level. So my concern is, where are these people, single mothers that have kids or other families that are below that 20%?
yeah, so what,
That's my comment.
so as part of this, is part of the development, we are building a 1-for-1 replacement, so we are replacing every unit at Chauncey with a subsidized unit, which means a single mother making 20% will qualify for any of the 20, 50 to 60, because they are under that income target. And with the subsidy layer means that they would pay 30% of their income, and then the subsidy would then cover the rest of the rent.
Okay.
So they are not forced to pay more than what they are able to pay based off of their income.
Okay.
So there is a subsidy that comes.
Is there a term limit for the subsidy?
Sir,
Is there a term limit for the subsidy? Like, is there?
No, right now it's a HAP contract that is recontinued as part of the commitment with the housing authority as the landowner. Because they are the landowner, they will continue to re-up that HAP, and that HAP will be continuous. Trek is not the landowner. Trek will have no place to do anything with subsidy or not renewing the HAP contract. The landowner is the housing authority will maintain the subsidy.
Patty, can you also clarify what the requirement is from HUD in terms of displacing existing residents?
So any resident that is in good standing with the housing authority is able to move to the new housing. We do have our community care team. They are working with the residents to maintain their status. They've reached out to every single resident. They continue to work very actively with every resident to make sure that they are able to stay in the housing and to move to the new housing.
At the same rate, or at a lower rate, or at a higher rate?
At 30% of their income.
Same rate.
Yeah.
Same,
What is-
if the income stays the same
Yes,
rate.
if their income changes, it does change.
Right.
It does change whether they have a new job, they lose a job, it changes things. It becomes, I don't work on that side, so I apologize for that. I don't have our management team here, but we do have members from our community care coaches.
Do y'all, have y'all thought about, do y'all foresee it going up on the rent every year? Like these other landlords, these developers are doing in the hills?
No, so the subsidized units are still based off your income.
I know, but are y'all gonna go up?
But can you legally increase the rent?
Yeah,
We can legally increase the market rate rent.
Just the
Can you
market rate.
legally- Hold on, can you legally increase in
They-
every level?
The tax credit rents are able to go up based off of AMI rents.
Okay,
However, yes.
so you are allowed to raise the rents,
But
but within reason.
within reason, and it's
Based on-
capped, and it's also based off of income. It's every year they reevaluate what the earned median income. If there were to, people were to start not making as much money, those AMIs would go down, and we would be able to. But it's a possibility. It has happened previously. but-
How soon will those houses that are up further up that drive, closer to Malliance?
The townhomes will be ready summer of next year. And then the buildings, the other two buildings will be ready probably winter of 26, beginning of 27.
All right, Reverend Wallace.
Switching lanes, how many of these new units on Summer Drive are family units? And do you have a projection of how many new kids will be moving into this?
That's about that.
So of the units, 22 of them are, the whole site is a family site. So I will say that, the 2 bedrooms are gonna, probably have a number of kids, but there's 22, 3 bedrooms, 10 of which are for additional affordable families. that are not currently Bedford Dwellings residents. So we expect to have another 10 there, as well as additional market rate 3 bedrooms, which will probably also bring kids.
Are these the first group that are gonna be ready?
No, so these haven't been started. We have not been awarded financing yet.
Okay.
We are coming to the community now to talk about our next round of development and our next funding. The ones that we have already been building are financed and funded and are moving
And
forward.
those are the ones that are up on Bedford Avenue?
Yes, these will be at Summers Drive.
Okay. Well, not at Summers Drive, Bedford Avenue, up further.
Yeah, those ones are, we're talking about Summers Drive, the ones that are up further. We came to you last year and we discussed this, and then those got financed and we closed on those in July.
Cause nothing's news happening on Summers Drive.
Well, that's what we're hoping to
Not
do.
yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But the Francis ones will be ready when
So the townhouses will be ready next summer. And then we have a senior building, 62 plus, and a family building, 55, family building that's general occupancy. That'll be ready, winter 26, 27.
What is the family building?
It's just for anybody that's interested in family, and there's for units on that site that are for families making 20% of the area median income to 80% of the area median income.
Is that like a high rise?
It's 4 stories.
So thank you so much for all your questions. It's time to score. So if you're a Hill District resident, you should have received a slip, the scorecard, and we need you to take a few minutes now based on the presentation that was presented today. And we need you to score either, and I need a scorecard. Yeah, president. Number 1, you strongly oppose this project. Number 2 is in the middle. Number 3, you're neutral about it. Number 4, you're between neutral and strongly favor. And number 5, you are strongly in favor of this project. So if you have not had a chance to get a scorecard, please raise your hand. Shelley, we got one right here. So please take a few minutes. When you're finished, hold your scorecard up so Shelley and our team can pick them up, please. If you're watching us online, the scorecard is provided to you on hilldistrict.org/score. We will give you a week to turn that scorecard in, but we do need you to turn it in ASAP. Thank you. And I need everyone to stay in the room because our next presentation is about more activity that's happening in the Hill, and we need you to be a part of it. So I'm going to ask Bridget from our RAISE team to come up. She is going to go through the RAISE presentation. Don't leave because we need your input. Don't leave, Brenda. Okay. This is the last opportunity for our residents. If you're not invited to a special meeting, like we have a special meeting coming up for a street, but this is the last time you're going to hear or get an opportunity to give your input about the RAISE project. And we have to turn in our input on September the 11th. So we need you to stay in the room, don't leave, and be a part of this project as well.
All right, hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yes, okay, good.
Not want to hear this. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to be doing a presentation. I'm going to try to make it as fast as possible because I know I'm standing between us and the remainder of our evenings. But this is very important information. And so with that, please stay engaged. Please hold on to your questions. until the end. And there'll also be some time for everyone to be able to kind of tell us what their priorities are, what's important and what's not important, right? We do want to hear from you. My name is Bridget Bethia, and I get the honor and privilege really to talk to community, and it's literally one of my favorite things to do. What we get to do at the company is to get to hear from you all and kind of support and bridge the gap between things that are happening in the community or to the community, and really hear your voice and make sure your voice continues and is heard with those folks who are leading or the projects. And so we're going to talk today about the New Pathways Project, or RAISE. You'll hear those things interchangeably. So you'll hear both RAISE and New Pathways interchangeably. This particular project is really focused in on the Hill District and supporting you all, supporting the residents, but it's specific to developing infrastructure, but as it relates to the public right-of-way. We'll talk a little bit about public right-of-way, what it is and what it's not. We'll talk about that during the presentation, but in the Hill District. As mentioned by Diane and our team members, that September 11th is kind of our harder stop, right, to be able to give feedback. So we want that feedback tonight. It's important to us. And we're really focusing on improving safety, connecting neighborhoods, direct investment in the Hill District. I think what I enjoy most about this project is that as we're talking about it, we're also going to be talking about things you'll be able to see very directly kind of show up, as you're just transiting through the Hill District, whoever it is, whoever you are, and then supporting local growth. And then making sure that it benefits all the residents as well. New Pathways and RAISE, our timeline. I love to show timelines and tell people kind of where we're at and where we're going. So this timeline kind of talks about where we're at now. We're in the stakeholder engagement, community engagement, understanding kind of the needs, wants, desires, priorities of the community. And that's where that first little black star is on the left. All of that information, all of the environmental documents, need to be submitted for approval no later than September 30th. Moving down into September of 2026, that's the federal deadline for USDOT. So USDOT is the U.S. Department of Transportation. That's the federal level of the Pennsylvania, like the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, but at the federal level, okay? And so we have to have all of the design activities completed by September of 2026. And that means that the environmental and construction approvals, all the call for bids, all of those need to be completed. So that other black star that you see on the right-hand side, that is going to be when construction would start early 2027, with it completing in 2031. Again, as we talk about these infrastructure projects, we're talking about things that are, we're doing a lot of planning for now, but are happening and impacting us in the future. This is the team for the New Pathways Project and RAISE. So the city of Pittsburgh serves as the project lead. So this is a city of Pittsburgh project. We are working with the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure, Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, PennDOT, Larson Design Group. Are the engineers of record for this particular project. We also have the Hill CDC, who's supporting and really leading the efforts in our community and stakeholder engagement. And that's in support with Evolve supporting the Hill CDC, as well as my company ULead supporting the Hill CDC. So again, really focused on the community engagement aspect of this all. So I like definitions because definitions allow us to understand collectively what we're talking about, right? So this project, the New Pathways or RAISE project, is specifically targeting the public right-of-way. So what is public right-of-way? It's land reserved for the public use for transportation that includes streets, sidewalks, curb ramps, city steps, and associated infrastructure like lighting, traffic signals, storm drains, and green infrastructure. I like reading this one because it's just nice to kind of go down that list of what falls within the public right-of-way. It's the space where the public has legal access to walk, bike, drive, use their wheelchairs, transit throughout a community, and it's typically maintained by the city. So when we're talking about this project, we are talking about the public right-of-way. Here are some additional things that are included. So we're talking about things like ADA compliant ramps, city steps, again, street lights and lighting, speed bumps, humps, curbs. You'll hear that along the way in the presentation. Also street resurfacing and reconstruction. So those are all things that fall within the public right-of-way. Okay, so we're getting smart. We know now what it is. What public right of way is not? So public right of way does not fall within the area of private residences or private businesses. So if there are porches, there's balconies, driveways, fences, lighting fixtures, we care about those things. Those things are important. We want those things to be improved and at the highest level in our communities, but it does not fall within this project. So when we're speaking, we're not speaking of things that fall within private residences or businesses. Drilling down a bit further, we're going to talk about this project also specifically is for the Hill District. I'm going to say that time and time again, but impacting the lower, middle, and upper Hill areas. We're going to get into some of the locations here in a minute, but really, again, talking about those things that we talked about before as it relates to public right-of-way, but to make the streets safer and more accessible and more walkable to transit for those who are in the area and live in the area. Throughout the presentation, and also if you look to my left over on this big old map over here, we have a map that's showing and talking about sidewalks. On that particular map, you see different colors that indicate whether a sidewalk has some issues, some small issues, some medium-sized issues, or some big issues. And so we'll talk about, you have the ability tonight to also give us some insight into some areas and sidewalks that could be considered low, moderate, or high priority. Would you say, ma'am? Okay, low, moderate, or high priority. And so with low priority, those are some with just some cracks. Moderate, obviously deeper cracks. Those were, we might see people who are with strollers or in wheelchairs. They may be in the street at that point because it's like, I can't be in this area right here, right? And in high priority, we're thinking about places where there may be no sidewalks at all. Okay, so that's what we want to be thinking about. Bump outs and curb extensions. I am learning this. I learned this not too long ago, so I'm excited to share what I've learned with you. But bump outs and curb extensions, if you look at the picture, if you can see it, that's on the bottom left. That's in East Liberty, but that is a bump out that's near Social Status, the clothing store that's there. Penn, I'm not sure what the cross street is, but it's basically a bump out allows for improvement of safety. It shortens the crossing distance for pedestrians or folks who are crossing the street and increases visibility for both the cars who are onlooking and the pedestrians who are also crossing the street. It calms traffic, it narrows the roadway, and also potentially enhances the streetscape. And so if you look at the picture that's at the top, that's my colleague and teammate from the city. That's Steve over there. Those are his hands. And he's just saying, look, here is an area where a bump out could be beneficial to kind of help to ease traffic, shorten that distance again for crossing, but also that bus, the bus folks getting on and off the bus would also have an easier way to get on and off the bus. Again, as I go through, what continues to excite me about this project is just knowing that this is going to help people who are transiting throughout the Hill District day in and day out. Yesterday, as I was headed to a meeting last night with the DRP, I saw a young man who was leaving a football game. He had all his gear on, all his shoulder pads, he's on his bike, his book bag was half open, and he's literally pedaling down center, probably all of 12, 13 years old, right? So when we think about this project, we're thinking about someone like that young man and making sure that he has safe streets and crosswalks and lights to be able to get to and from his game to home or practice to home. All right, so this project, it's generally focused on Center Avenue, knowing all the development. We talked a lot about that earlier that's coming to the Hill District, but we're going to focus on some specific areas. These are the areas that we're going to focus on, and we're going to ask about your thoughts and, again, understanding your priorities for these areas, okay? We need your priorities additionally around green infrastructure. If you have any recommendations around public art or public plaza extended sidewalk improvements, these are all possibilities as well. Not a have to, but something that could be possible in these areas as well. And then thinking about green infrastructure, I just want you guys to think about if we have green infrastructure, it also helps to manage flooding and flooding when it rains. So there's a beautification, but also the ability to help with flooding as well, okay? All right, so we are going to delve into the locations. While we're doing this, I want you there on your table, there are some Post-it notes, some yellow Post-it notes, and there are like some pink small little Post-it notes. Don't worry about the pink ones yet, just the yellow ones. If you are in the back, if I could get somebody maybe to give them a few of the yellow Post-it notes, I think they're of any color really of the Post-it notes. If there's things that come up while I'm talking, put a thought on that Post-it note, okay, in a particular area. Let me know what area that is. Throw that on that Post-it note and we'll collect those at the end so we have those, okay? And I'll tell you how to use the pink ones a little bit later. But so if there's something that comes up for you, while I'm talking about the potential for changes for Center Avenue, De Villiers, and Dinwiddie intersection, if you're like, I want to hold on to this thought and it's a question, or if it's something that I want to share, you can put it on that Post-it note, okay? All right, so we're gonna delve into the locations. I'm gonna move pretty quickly. Again, we'll leave questions for the end. But if you're looking at the small map that's up here, so there's gonna be these small maps that are kind of up in the corner. That's kind of what current state looks like. And then the larger map is gonna be a possibility for that area. Again, a possibility is not that it's happening. It's not that it's happened. It's not that it's on the docket to happen. It's literally just something that, you know, could be a possibility, again, to help improve safety and ease traffic in that area. All right, so the first one that we're going to talk about is Center Avenue, DeVilliers Street, and Dinwiddie Street intersection. So at this particular intersection, the possibility here is creating a crosswalk on, a raised crosswalk on Center Avenue. So this would be where the raised crosswalk would be. And that's kind of like, if you think about when you go through communities where there's raised crosswalks, it helps to kind of slow down that traffic in the area, okay? So a raised crosswalk in that area. And then additionally realigning Dinwiddie and DeVilliers to realign that intersection. So if you see in this photo down here, can you see my cursor? Oh, you can, yay. All right, so for Dinwiddie, right, part of this has been reclaimed in order to make this a more natural four-way intersection. I think many of us in here have either walked that area or we've been in that area driving, and we understand how it is very confusing and it can be difficult to know who has the right of way, which way, who's going first, second, third, and all of those things in that area. And so this would be a way to help calm that area in this area. And then additionally, thinking about some green space here, we have had a chance to do some engagement with Ebenezer Towers, with residents there. We have had a chance to do some engagement with Zone 2 as well, to kind of hear from them around what would be important to them. A lot of the residents, I don't know if we have any, do we have any residents from Ebenezer Towers here tonight? So with the residents at Ebenezer Towers, they are not able to sit outside of their the actual building. A lot of them go across the street to the post office. You'll see them kind of hanging out over there and other places. This would, and they were excited about potentially having a place with some green space to be able to you know, commune and talk in that area. Yeah.
So what we need from you all is we're gonna go through 3 distinct sites, what we need, because the timeline for input is quickly ending. We need you to write your thoughts about this on the yellow Post-it, okay? So think it's great, don't think it's great, I like this idea, but I don't like that. Whatever your input is, you really need to get it, because at the end of the process, we don't want it to be 2 people who gave input, but 2 years down the line, when the revisions to the street grid comes, right, then we're all like, oh, we didn't get a chance to give our input. So I'm just letting you all know, from a process standpoint, we're trying to collect your input on these right now. So write your thoughts as she's going through each image.
And then as you have them, put them up so we can grab them.
Yes.
Okay.
And then additionally,
Make sure they're mixed up.
yeah, I would say, so let's do a moment to give you a second to do your thoughts for this particular intersection. Let's start here. Yeah.
By giving them a second, I have a question. Why, Kennard Field ain't at the?
Kennard Field is not on the,
Yeah, it's just not, it's not on the Center Avenue.
the Center Avenue corner, yeah.
And trying to connect it to
All right, we're going around, we're grabbing, we're gonna get ready to move to the next site, okay? All right, so this is just a picture showing you. This is just a picture kind of showing you the Dinwiddie approach up to Center Avenue and kind of what current state looks like. You know, that little like kind of parking pad there. And so that would be the part that would be reclaimed in order to make that a little bit more natural going into that 4-way intersection. And then over on the left-hand side would be where that green space would be, okay? So
Left-hand side on this.
over this side. Yeah, over on this side. Yes. All right, so the next location that we're gonna move to is the Center Avenue Business District. I just wanna make sure everybody can hear, that's all. All right, so we're next location, we're gonna move to the Center Avenue Business District. I have just an overlay over here of Big Tom, just so you can see where we're at. For this particular area, this is really a story of traffic calming overall, and kind of creating some bump outs to make sure, and where you see kind of these brown little brownish grayish areas, that's where you're seeing kind of like those bump outs or that sidewalk being addressed in that area, and creating high visibility crosswalks along Center Avenue at Grove Street, continuous bump outs along Center Avenue between Aaron and Addison Street, providing high visibility crosswalks like Addison and Aaron Street, and then also installing bump outs along Aaron Street. But again, this is kind of a story of just really addressing kind of the sidewalks and bump outs for traffic easement here to slow down traffic for folks who are in this area.
And a clarification, I want to break this down so we can get some input here, right? So these bump outs create kind of like a nestled parking lane. You all see that?
What
So-
do that mean?
So you see how the bump out, that's what we're calling bump outs.
Okay.
And they create kind of like this, little parking lane, like between the two bump outs. And then you still have the two-way, right, see?
Yeah, it's still two.
The two-way with a line down the middle of the street.
Yes, traffic will continue to go in both directions, the little yellow line in the middle. Cars will be protected in the parking lane on either side, with the bump out at the beginning and end of each.
Like when you're in Oakland on Fourth Avenue.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah, or
Fifth
he's, or Fifth Avenue, he's
Fifth
slipping,
Avenue.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't explain that.
No,
in a
that's
way that
okay. I just want to make sure that we know that when we talk about bump out, this is what we're talking about. So when Bridget says it may help people to get on public transportation, right now, the bus pulls up right here, then you step in the street normally.
Right.
And then you step on the bus.
Right.
Right? So the bus would be pulling up to, ideally, the traffic would stop where the bump outs are. So you would see bus stops moving to those areas, so they would go straight on to there. Again, this is not, very important for me to say to you all, this is not a sales pitch.
No.
We need your authentic input now, okay? So whatever it is, if you have questions, now's the time to get those questions answered. Yes, ma'am. And then Ms. Morris. Okay, Ms. Morris.
But don't bump outs end up taking away some parking spaces?
It will take a little parking away.
And
Buses normally pull up to the curb.
Mhm.
Buses normally pull up to the curb or a bus where.
Sometimes though, the bus, there may be a car that's parked there and the bus, right, sometimes it's difficult. The car might be parked there and so the bus doesn't have a natural place to go, depending on what parking looks like. So again, it is an easement for kind of everyone who's kind of transiting that area, if that makes sense. Okay?
I do like the bump outs, but I like what she said, like parking. Parking, we need parking.
You're gonna lose parking, so put that on your
We
feedback.
need parking.
Put on your feedback.
Yeah, put on your feedback if you have concern about parking.
Put that on Okay.
If that's important to you, write it down so that we have a record and know we need to take that into account.
Into account and consideration.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna move to the next big location. This is gonna be Center Avenue at Kirkpatrick Street in Elmore. So when you hear me talk about bump outs or sidewalks, it's what Marimba kind of explained. It's gonna be similar, right, in each area. And so Center Avenue at Kirkpatrick really is kind of where the big shift or possibility, again, this is not a sales pitch, this is to hear your feedback. And the idea here is to create some high visibility crosswalks across Center Avenue at Elmore Street.
Please stop now. Real quick, I just want to clarify something. This is actually Center Avenue, Kirkpatrick and Mayhorn. Okay, so it's not Elmore Street, it's Mayhorn. Okay, so we just want to clarify that.
It's Mahon. There is some recommendations for Elmore. It is on here as well here. However, the major change is at Kirkpatrick, Center Avenue in Mahon, okay? All right, so with this particular drawing here, what we're seeing is high visibility crosswalks across Center Avenue at Elmore. So that's here, okay? Along with bump outs and high visibility crosswalks at Center Avenue and Kirkpatrick Street. And then dead ending Mahon Street and creating public space along Center Avenue. So you can see here the public space here and the possibility of a sidewalk here. Now, I do want to say that we've heard that that Mahon Street is very important to the community. And that people want to be able to continue it really as is, that they want to be able to drive both ways on Mahon Street. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, cause I live on Main.
Yes, ma'am.
I had open heart surgery. They took a vein out my leg and put in my heart and helped me. If they block off Mayhorn and this vein only lasts so long, and I go into an episode, they gotta go all the way around to get me and I'll be dead by the time they get there. You don't care about my life.
We absolutely do care about your life. But understood. So we're definitely taking, again, we have heard from multiple people. Yes, ma'am. So we have talked to, I'm sorry, I just want everybody to be able to hear. So if there's side conversations, just come back with me. So we have talked to Central Baptist Church. We have not talked to all of the residents on Mahon. And so, yes.
So on September the 15th at 5:30, we're going to have a special stakeholder meeting for Mahon. For any residents that are there, any church members, anybody that uses that street, we want to hear from you. It will be held at the Hill CDC at 5:30. I'm going to do a live session on Zoom. So if you are interested in that meeting, see me after, so I can get your email information, your phone number, so I can get that Zoom link out to you and make sure you get an invite to that particular meeting. Because we've heard from some of the Mahon residents and we understand that this is a change that it is under, consideration. The city of Pittsburgh also wants to hear from you. They heard very clear from some of the members that they don't want this. So it's still, it's still a situation that can change. We just want to make sure we have enough voices to make that change. So again,
The reason will be a change, because they have not heard from the residents.
Right.
On Mahon. And how can public announcement be made, any word at all, in a public domain, and you have not heard from the people who will be involved and affected? Amen. And that's no. Why did you make a public announcement before you were communicating with the residents on Mahon? And to say you're gonna dead block the street in a public domain? That is not right. That is not right. So the point is, you're doing it from down kind of planning, do it from bottom up. And it has to be that way.
And that is why we want to have special conversation with those that are there, directly affected or who use the street, so we can understand what the issues are. This is not a public announcement, nothing is done, nothing is decided. This is all an idea, and we need to hear from you whether you think it's a good idea or a bad idea. If it's a bad idea, it goes away. If it's a good idea, like there may be other things that are discussed today that you say that is a good idea, then we're gonna try to figure out how to do that.
How did it ever come up that the street should be closed
So,
anyway?
let me address that,
Yes.
So,
Such a short.
it, it is a short. Excuse me. Can you go back to? Do you have the Center Avenue plan in here? Do we see?
The whole.
It's.
That could be so nice.
What's on the back of that? Center of Opportunity or?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so this was the Center Avenue plan that the community participated in 2015. There were hundreds of participants in this process, okay? In this particular plan, the recommendation was to eliminate it wasn't to eliminate Mahon, it was to eliminate a 5-street intersection. Because a 5-street intersection is dangerous from a vehicular standpoint and also for pedestrians. Because you've got 5 streets coming together at once, okay? So the recommendation in the 2015 Center Avenue Redevelopment Design Plan, here, for those of you who can't see it, was to create a pedestrian thoroughfare on Mahon as opposed to having it as a vehicular thoroughfare. You'll also see though, that there was a street opened here. That street doesn't exist here. You all see that, right? That street does not exist right now. You see this street?
Where, open where?
Before it comes
Yeah,
up.
so-
I'm sorry.
Please go Row and Kirkpatrick, goes to the Central Baptist Church.
Do you all see, hold on for 1 second.
Yes.
Because I'm focused on the plan that the community actually did endorse before, okay? This is the diagram of that, okay, everybody see that? This is Mahon. Okay, at the time, the recommendation was to eliminate Mahon as a vehicular thoroughfare so that there wouldn't be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 street intersection, and to open a street here. You all see that street? That street does not exist right now. You all know that, right?
Which street? Open it.
It's not a
At the
street.
end of Mahon going up to,
It's not a street, but it, in the plan, this is a plan, this was a vision. The suggestion was to cut off Mahon and to put a new street in
where?
between Mahon and Wiley. You all see that? You see it?
Street there, is it takes you to that?
Hold on. There's no street there right now.
No.
There's no street there right now. So that was the recommendation. So now we are at the point where the city has taken old plans and, so forth. And they said, okay, well, this is what in the 2015 plan that the community did participate in said might work, right? Everybody may not participate in every plan, right? I get that, okay? So there are two things I think we have to debate, okay? One, first of all, you should just put.
Do they live on their street?
No. Yeah, I mean, listen, property owners and residents have a distinct and important level of engagement and impact that they should have out of respect to who they are. What I'm trying to do is provide context, not a case, okay? So that's where the idea came from. I just want you all to know where the idea came from. Doesn't mean we have to stick with the idea, but I do want us to consider the two ideas, because I'm just noticing, to be honest with you all, that through this process, Raise New Pathways is not proposing opening a new street here. You all see that? That's not a part of what was proposed to us.
Is that the street behind the library?
No, it doesn't exist right now.
I saw that street all the time.
Hold on, it does not, Carmen, the street doesn't exist right now. This was a plan. Okay, but the plan never came to fruition. Now we're getting the plan to fruition. Okay, yes, sir.
I got a question.
Okay.
To build that new street, you would take out a parking lot, correct? You would take out a parking lot. For what it looks like.
No. This, at the time, Central had a vision for new housing on their parking lot. Okay, this is why I'm always saying.
It wasn't on the park.
Yes, it was.
No.
Okay.
It was never on the parking lot.
Well, that's where the plan ended up, and we did engage the Central Baptist at the time.
No.
Either way, it didn't happen. Okay? Either way, it didn't happen. So we are where we are now, right? So the question is, right? There is no right or wrong answer. There's only your opinion. And I just want to make sure we're all informed by the same information. Okay? So you need to provide your input on whether you want Mahon to become a pedestrian walkway and to open a new street, whether you want everything to remain the same, or whether you want a different solution that maybe we haven't even thought of. That's really what has to be, thought through, and what the input is that you should provide in this session.
Where did that street go?
Well, in this picture, it is behind Central's parking lot. So you have Central's parking lot, it would be a street that came up between Central, the parking lot, and Monumental. Up to White.
Or behind the houses.
Yeah, no, right after right after Central's parking lot, a street was proposed at the time to connect from the end of Mahon
Yes.
to Wiley Avenue, passing Monumental. Okay, so that's what this is here. It was a vision for a new street, so the people wouldn't be locked in on Mahon so that they can get to Wiley. Okay, and so that there wouldn't be a 5-street intersection here in the middle of the hill. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Question. So I drive off that street all the time. And then when I there is a street that gets you to White. What street is that?
No, we're not.
No, I'm not that
She's not
far.
talking about Soho.
When I go up this street right here, I always turn and I come out like.
Onto Wiley. That's Soho.
Right on down.
That is Soho. That's Soho. The street that is in this concept does not exist.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going up a little bit, and then you're making a left on Soho,
Yeah.
right? So if you make a right, you're gonna go down Soho. If you make a left, it's kind of flat, and then you go up.
It's the next church, Monumental.
Monument.
Come out in Monumental.
Yes, Reverend Walls. Yes.
And so, as experts, you should be coming to us with a feasible plan for this major intersection in the Hill District. The councilman just left, but we need a traffic study to see what that current traffic is for through this intersection.
Does the city have a traffic study?
Yes.
You wanna use, Steve? Steve, use the mic, Steve.
And then secondly, there are several experts on this board that are being developed that the connections to the intersection. And so I'll represent on Tuesday, I'll try to make that meeting. But you need to consider that these four developments will bring increased traffic to this intersection.
Yes.
So it's gotta be feasible.
Yes.
So if that means changing the traffic light patterns or putting more, I don't know what it is, you're the expert, you should be bringing that to us.
But I think what we're here for, and the reason why I'm pressing us is because when we don't get our input in, things happen to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me be straight up with you, Reverend Walls. An edited revision without our input is not likely to happen because they've come up with their best ideas. Now we need your idea and your input in order to revise it so it's responsive to the community's needs.
Right.
Okay? Or eliminate it. No right or wrong. It's just that this is their proposal. So if you're saying if you're saying this proposal doesn't work, then tell us why it doesn't work so that they can make the revisions.
That's what I'm asking for your.
Yes, and so that is the purpose for us being here and the meetings that we have been holding and that we'll be holding specifically about this intersection in just over a week's time. Yes, we have done traffic counts for these intersections, so we have a sense, these were done in the springtime to see how many vehicles were going in what direction, what turns they were making and the like. We also look at traffic crash data for the last 5 years to see where have there been car accidents or maybe pedestrians hit or others. And we'll, looking at all of that, working with the traffic engineers that are part of the team, they recommended that we look at that closure, that pedestrian space at the end of Mahon was the way to make the intersection the safest. That is not to say that that would make the intersection best for development. That is not to say that that would make it 100% workable in all regards. Which is why we're bringing these to you today and we say, can you give us your reaction? Your gut reaction says yay or nay, or have you thought about this, or have you thought about that? That's what we need to hear. So we can go back to the people who know how to make these things work and make sure that they do it in a way that meets what the community needs, but also makes the community safer. Do you want to continue or?
Probably just
questions?
last comment on this one, and we can probably move forward.
One more comment from Lloyd's.
Interested in, I'm a retired supervisor guard, and we're looking at, it's just gonna be closing coming up because there's a low enrollment of the school. And would this be conducive for the safety and well-being of the students that's gonna be walking
No.
from various areas of the community to get to and from? I think that should be a big #1 priority if they're looking at closing Millis, Millis School.
Oh.
And the children will be transferred to Elio Wild School or vice versa. So there is a big snowball going on right now. It hasn't melted. And so can we put that on the table to be mindful? Because you have the 5-year pass, but we got a new thing coming up now. Until some things settle down, so we can see where things are gonna be, what could be what, because there's too many things that is blue flying up in the air right now.
So thank you for that comment. First, I just got kind of we would love to meet with you, after this to get some more information. And additionally, we have done at least an initial, presentation as well to the school leaders at, Alliance. I don't think Ms. Stewart, was able to make it from Miller, but I have talked to her directly, as well as WOW. And so, we are wanting to continue to get more information about that's obviously paramount and important as it relates to students, but we would love to meet with you after this to talk a little bit more, if that's okay with you.
Can we get your information?
Get your
to the
information.
Specific conversation.
Yeah.
She is like a famous guard. Who worked for years.
I'm
She probably
sorry.
knows more about
Traffic patterns.
traffic
Yeah.
patterns.
that'd be-
So, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
we got a few questions coming up.
All right.
Ms. Charlotte.
We-
Yeah, two gentlemen to that, and then Ms. Charlotte, and then we need to push forward.
Okay, yeah, we do need to push. Yes, sir.
So the
Leonidas.
subway intersection, is there any consideration for technology, like maintaining the current infrastructure, but using motion sensor or something else would be?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it back to Steve.
Yes, in fact, Center Avenue is one of, I think it's 5 corridors throughout the city that is part of a Smart Pittsburgh project. Okay, so that's a separate project. The state is helping us to make our traffic signals actually more intelligent and connected together with technology, which includes things like cameras or radar detectors that can sense whether it's a bus or a vehicle or a bicycle rider or a pedestrian that's approaching an intersection and adjust the timing of the light to allow those people to get through the intersection safely. So Center Avenue, including the 3 intersections that we're showing you tonight, will all have that upgraded traffic signal technology, as well as all the other signals up and down Center Avenue from downtown all the way to East Liberty. So the intent is we're trying to, as part of RAISE, we're going to improve and bring those signals up to a modern standard. And then we're gonna connect them and make them more intelligent using new technology.
Second part, for Ken. Could you explain a little bit on the concerns of this intersection? Like what is so outside of pedestrian safety, and I think that will be covered with technology, but what other concerns is there for this intersection?
The main driver
Hold
of,
on 1 second.
Sorry.
Just because I'm really going short on time. Let's collect all the last 2 questions.
Okay.
You can answer them all together. Richard, and then Ms. Charlotte.
Yes, I have actually 2 questions. One is, does this plan include repair of cobblestone streets? Because there's been some major water main breaks, and does it include repair of water main breaks? 2 questions.
okay,
Is the cobblestone streets included? Because Soho now, it's right at Nahon.
right.
It's a combination of asphalt.
Asphalt and cobblestone.
It's not working. It's tipping, cars are being destroyed coming down Soho Street. And the blocks are on the side. They could be utilized right now. And there's been some major water main breaks. I have a video here. If you wanted to listen to it, I showed you. It was like a river was flowing down Soho. Honest to goodness, it really did sound like a river. And it went into our basement. That's another story though, but I just wondered if there's any plan to repair the water mains, maybe from Bedford all the way down to Center. There has been water main breaks.
Hold on, Richard. Question.
So I didn't hear an answer.
I know, we're gonna answer all these questions so we can get.
We're gonna be efficient.
Right.
So my question is related to his question, just
Yeah.
wanted to understand, particularly at the Center Kirkpatrick intersection, if your traffic data showed pedestrian incidents or high rate of car accidents.
So, we'll pull out the traffic data that we have. I don't have it at the tip of my fingers right now, but. So motivation for the intersection improvements that we're talking about are driven largely by pedestrian and motorist safety. That's whether you're a transit rider or a pedestrian walking down the street, or if you're a motorist passing through, to do so safely. I mean, that's a citywide priority in every neighborhood is to try to make it safer so everyone can get to where they want to go without fear of being injured or killed. And we are working very hard in all neighborhoods to try to do that. These 3 intersections that we're focusing on are inherently more dangerous than normal intersections because you either have 5 streets coming in at different angles. And so those traffic lights and just kind of everybody knowing where they're going and giving space to other users is more problematic, more difficult. And so we see a higher incidence of crashes at those locations. You'll see at Reed Street, we actually have a 3-way intersection. And it gets confusing for everybody who's gonna duck off to the left and who's going straight. So we're trying to make those intersections safer. So that's the primary motivation. And we do have the traffic study data to tell us where people are going. Mahon is the least traveled street. Like
Yes,
most
that's
people
true.
are going up and down Kirkpatrick because they're coming from the south side or from uptown, or they're on Center Avenue traversing the neighborhood. Mahon has the smallest number of vehicles, but still has some. I personally witnessed people speeding on Mahon a lot because it's a shortcut. The question though about, are we looking at cobblestone streets and are we looking at damage from water main breaks and other things like that? Yes, we do. If it is a water related issue, meaning if the water main breaks, PWSA, our water provider, is the one responsible for restoring the street. So if there's any deficiencies in the street, or if they did an improper job of restoring it, that's where we as a city would go to PWSA. It's your responsibility. It was your main that caused the damage. You're responsible for repairing it, and they do. If there are deficient areas, we have Cobblestone Street citywide. We have a program already to repair those. And so we prioritize based on traffic and condition, the sequence of those. If there are particular places, and so if you're suggesting a block of Soho that we should look at as part of this project that would have some blockstone repair, as we call it, then I want you to write that down and turn it into us so we can then look at that specifically.
Hold on, we have to get through
We have-
this next 2. We'll take your questions, we will, I assure you.
Yeah.
But we have a couple more, we gotta show you the other intersections.
Yeah, I just we want to make sure we get to all the intersections before we close out tonight. Thank you again for all of your comments. So the next location we're going to talk about is Center Avenue at Reed Street intersection. Steve talked about it a little bit just a couple seconds ago. But this particular area, obviously we're all very familiar with this area as well, where Center Avenue kind of bears to the right, but kind of keeps straight, right? And so that's an area where people speed a lot too. People are kind of yielding at that light as opposed to doing a full-on stop. This is where I saw the young man who was on the bike, and I personally have crossed the street here and almost got hit twice, just because of kind of like a little bit of a blind spot coming around that corner for the cars. And so the possibility here again is adding a high visibility crosswalk at the intersection and then creating bump outs, as we talked about before, along Center Avenue to allow for pedestrian crossing. Again, shortening that distance between each side of the street if you're crossing as a pedestrian. I'm trying to think, I had one other thing to talk about here. We know that Reed Street, this particular area also can get really busy during rush hour. So a lot of people are using this and it gets kind of locked up. So another thing that the city has been talking about specifically is making sure that these lights are timed. I was like re-looking at it again as I was writing down today, and there's just really arrows right there. So they're not timed very well. It's just kind of arrows pointing this way and that way. But for folks who are cutting through the Hill District or going over to the south side or continuing along Center in the Hill District, this should help with safety overall for drivers and for folks who are either walkers, wheelchairs, children, etc. All right, and this is kind of just showing a picture of that area. And we have had a chance to talk to the church leadership as well in this area to learn a little bit about what their needs are and how folks are coming in and out there and their access vans and stuff that stop along that street. And they really did continue to emphasize the need to support children who are in this area as well, using Reed Street and this part of Center Avenue. All right, the next location that we're going to talk about is the Chauncey Street Steps. The possibility here is really replacing the curb. So there is no curb here, right, across from the gas station. So creating a curb here, creating some open space, and also creating adding lighting and repairing the steps overall. So I'll move to the next picture. This young man that we saw here down on the walkway, you see the walkway has been updated. It's in great shape, but you see a lot of overgrowth, different trees and different things along this area here. And then as you get up into the steps, there really is not good lighting. And so it's not someplace that we would want a kid or anyone really to be on at night with no lighting. Or daytime, thank you, or daytime, right? So addressing this area is also something that the team is seeing as a priority. This young man here, we also did see him up on Bedford when we went up on Bedford in our next location. And so, I was like, hey, just saw you down down on Center. So we know people are using it, but we want to make sure that they can use it in a way that's safe overall. And then this is the area that would be changed into where the sidewalk would be, and then some of that open space. All right, the next location is up on Bedford near the Carter Service Station. And really, we're seeing this as kind of an extension to the Chauncey Street steps. So if you're coming from down Center or going up to Bedford, if you're taking the most direct path going up Chauncey, right now there's no sidewalk there. And so the only recommendation here is just to add a sidewalk. This is a pretty steep grade of a hill. There's currently no sidewalk at all on this particular part of Chauncey. And so the sidewalk would potentially be added here on this left-hand side. Okay. All right, the last location I'm gonna talk about, and then we'll have, I think, a little bit more time for some talking, is Center Avenue, 6th Avenue to Crawford Street. All right, I'm going to slow down here just a little bit because what is very important to know from you all tonight about this area is it a priority? So what I'm going to do when I get somewhere into talking about this, I'm gonna ask you to raise your hand if you believe that this is a priority or if you believe this is not a priority. So just listen up, all right? So Center Avenue, 6th Avenue to Crawford Street, addressing, we know that that's where PPG Paints is. Marima talked a lot about that and beautiful storytelling earlier. So I really appreciated that. So this really the recommendation here is to widen this median. Lots of folks come down for games and other events. But the thing about it is that if we spend a lot of resources in this area, it takes away resources from things that are happening in other parts of the hill that may be more important to us. I'm going to go through the rest of the slides because it's just going to show you that median being widened and those crosswalks being addressed along Center Avenue, again, 6th Avenue up to Crawford Street. But right now, I would love if I could get a show of hands. If you believe that this is not a priority, for new pathways raised, just raise your hand. Just raise, keep it raised, keep it up. Keep it up, just raise your hand if it's not a priority. Not a priority. Not a priority. Thank you. You can put your hand, do you want to have them put it up again?
No, she got, I think I got about 15.
All right, thank you. That is a situation where we just needed to hear from community, right? So we're not making the decision in a vacuum around if this is a priority. All right, I am almost done. Again, feedback due no later than September 11th. Here are the reasons why, as we shared before. So here's where you can get information, and we're gonna do one last thing before we break. Okay, so I'm gonna get, can I get behind? I don't even have to stay, right? Yeah. Okay, all right, let me move on. I don't like podiums. Podiums create a barrier between me and people. All right, so you can again, this meeting is a way to give feedback. Additionally, the hilldistrict.org/raise, that's another place. It will connect you directly to information about this project to stay up to date, but also you can go onto the Engage page for the city of Pittsburgh, and that will allow you to give direct feedback for sidewalks and other things, other areas that we talked about tonight, so you can write those into an interactive map. And then, yeah, you can. So, okay, so let me go over here. All right, I'm gonna be Vanna Black. All right, so over in this area. Okay, is again, the map that's gonna show the different sidewalks, and again, it's like low, high, low, moderate, high, where category 4, red is always bad. Let's just say that, right? Red is always bad. Your orange, right, are those moderate, and I believe that the yellow are gonna be more your low priority. So you see those here, those have already been identified. However, we know that there are some sidewalks that may not show up on here. What I'm gonna ask everyone to do is gonna be tough. So I have a question. All right, we're getting to the part where you get to choose your own journey, okay?
Can we make sure that people know these little pink ones, if there's a missing sidewalk that you know of, please go put it on that board, on the missing side, on the one with the sidewalk area.
Is my street up there? Is my street up there?
Your street should be up. Your should be a thing. All right, so if you don't see it, just write your street name and put it on that. We have to get this, we need you to tell us where the missing sidewalks are. Just write it as many as you can.
Oh, on the.
On the, you can put it on you can put it on whichever one you're comfortable. So how much time do I have? We're done, okay, we're done. All right, 10, how many minutes left? I got 5 minutes, because I'm not gonna be the one to close this out. So with 5 minutes left, here's what I need you to do. With 5 minutes left, here's what I need you to do. The first thing I need you to do is to take your regular Post-its, and I need you to just take a minute and think about what you've heard. If there's anything else you want to share, put the name of that intersection, Reed Street, Mahon, I don't like it, I don't want it, put that on that Post-it, and we'll come around and collect those. But make sure you let us know where it is. Just don't say, I don't like it, and I don't know what it is. If I get the Post-it, I'm not gonna know what you're talking about. So let me know exactly where you're talking about on that Post-it. They can refresh themselves. All right, which then, They can refresh themselves. on- yes. And additionally, I'm gonna give some time for us to get up and walk. I'm gonna take my last few minutes for you to get up and walk. So if you're willing and able, if you want to, I also have those main 3 intersections up here. I'll bring one of these to the back. And so up here we have the Kirkpatrick, we have the Reed Street, we have the Villiers, and then you have the major map over here with the sidewalks, okay? So I'm gonna move this one to the back. That pink, again, those pink little tags, if it is important to you, I also want you to just take a little pink tag and just put it on here. Okay, take a pink little tag and put it on here. I'm gonna leave one at the back, so as you leave, you can do that, okay?
Going over the online feedback one more time.
And so online, hi guys, online, if you wanna get feedback, we need to go to either, hilldistrict.org/raise. You can link there to the Engage page, or you see the link there to the Engage page, directly, and you can give feedback there. You can give that in 2 ways, through a survey and or directly onto a map on the Engage page that will allow you, to interact and share what is important to you as it relates to it. All right, so, as it relates to what is important in your priorities, I'm gonna stop now. We're just gonna take a minute. We're gonna move, okay? We're gonna move.
All right, so everybody stand up.
If you're able, if anybody needs help, I can take your Post-its.
Richard?
Just a quick question, I just want to be sure you're not including life lanes.
No.
This one.
All right, so first of all, can I just have a few thank yous to our presenters for tonight? Please give them in here. They gave us loads of information about development in the Hill. We just appreciate them staying and giving us this information. And now the next step is you have to become active. We need you to come to the board. We need you to give us your input. We need to make sure it's clear and we can read it. So please do not leave without giving us your information.
I would ask one member of the race team to stand at each match. So Steve, if you could do that, Nate, if you could go to one of them, and that's not your son. Right there. If you can go here. Nate, sorry. Take your little pink tabs and make sure before you leave to put them on what you see as a priority or the phone. On the phone. You can do it on the phone.
I had others. Hold on. I had others. So that's what's in our head. I wonder about Center Avenue. Right across from your building. Zone 2. That's called Zone 2. You know, people be sitting out there. Yeah. Right across from you. That is for infrastructure.